Well, guys, this is not in the slightest bit surprising, but should be in the absolute greatest bit terrifying to all of you, to everybody, because we're about to be Kaled, the land of plague and disease, very, very soon. We're all gonna look like Trump's rotten hand if things keep going in this direction, with RFK Jr., America's most healthy man, as MAGA would tell you, running all of our medical institutions within the federal government. The CDC is no longer gathering any actual data on how to prevent diseases, drownings, car accidents, literally anything that hurts or makes people sick. CDC isn't studying how to prevent it anymore. Hell, the CDC isn't even gathering data on how frequently it's happening anymore. We're not tracking trends to see what problems are becoming more or less problematic at any given time, and we have no way of knowing what we need to roll out responses to. RFK has been making this problem persistently worse, to the point where now we've got tons of media outlets calling it out. Notably, not just media outlets, but people in our government. Specifically Bernie Sanders, who just put out a video very simply called RFK Jr. Must Resign. Sorry, Bernie, I don't want to cut you off, my friend. You are my goat, after all, but we're going to be listening to Bernie Sanders explain this whole situation, because who better to explain all of this to you all than the OG pro-socialism candidate in the Democratic Party, the GOAT. All right, Bernie's not perfect, but he's as close to perfect as you can expect a politician to be these days. So, going into this, one thing you're going to want to know is that RFK has gone on record multiple times claiming that the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine, not just the COVID vaccine, should also be restricted or banned, because it is proven to be, in his words, it is proven to be completely useless and only harmful. It is not just the COVID vaccine we're talking about here, okay? If you're scared that we're going to have COVID pandemic too, I promise you that is the least of our worries. We're going to be dealing with far scarier problems than this. It's going to be polio and Spanish flu and the Black Plague that'll be spreading soon. That's what you need to be afraid of, because we don't live all that differently than how we did back when the Black Plague and Spanish flu and whatnot were ravaging America. We don't live that much differently than we did back then. We live very condensed, very tightly packed as a species. Without vaccines, there's going to be some serious death tolls if RFK Jr. gets what he wants, which seems to be to make Nurgle happy by spreading disease as far and wide as possible. Perhaps even within the warp, Nurgle will become aware of his biggest disciple, RFK, providing him, so much pestilence within the living world. Yeah, it keeps his brainworm healthy. Anyway, Bernie, go ahead and take it away. Give us the lore, my friend.
Thanks very much for joining me. Dangerously, President Trump and Health and Human Services Secretary Robert Kennedy are wreaking havoc on our already broken and dysfunctional healthcare system. I love the slogan. It's a great slogan. Make America healthy again. Fantastic.
It is a good slogan.
Unfortunately, the Trump administration is doing just the opposite. You don't make a...
Remember when Michelle Obama tried to do this, when she tried to make America healthy again, and the right decided that they would rather cut their balls off and be forced to eat it than eat whatever healthy food Michelle Obama was having put in schools. The really funny thing, and these are stories you mostly hear from teachers, but mind you, I was in school when this happened, so I remember it myself. Although this is more so common these days. I was in school when Michelle Obama put in place the healthy food policies. Our snack bars quickly became replaced with healthy options, like a salad bar, for instance, right? And it was nice. I actually thought it was pretty cool. I wasn't really raised on junk food, so I really was happy to opt for some chopped up ham and tomatoes and some lettuce and some I liked that. I liked having a salad with my lunch. It was nice. And so I never had a problem with the Michelle Obama make kids healthy thing. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. I want to be healthier. They're giving us good food in school based. I absolutely had no problem with it. Apparently these days, though, teenagers in middle school will complain to teachers about the Michelle Obama era health food options that are still present in many schools. Meanwhile, the teachers' responses are, at least according to them, why are you complaining this? How do you even know? You weren't in school when these rules came into place. How would you know any different? Like, it's very clear that a lot of the kids are picking up on the rhetoric their parents have espoused about Michelle Obama and her Make America Healthy Again initiative, and they were repeating it like, I don't want to eat healthy food. I want to eat the shitty processed food. I want junk food. I want a snack bar. Meanwhile, all of a sudden these people are cheering for RFK Jr. making America healthy again, which he's not, but it's only because he's a sycophant for Trump. They're all part of a cult, and anyone who bends the knee gets the benefit of being defended by the cult. But if you don't bend the knee and kiss the ring, you're now the cult's enemy number one, and they won't stop till you've been destroyed.
America healthy by throwing 15 million people off the health care they have, which is what Trump's big, beautiful bill does. You don't make America healthy by, as a result of these Medicaid cuts, shutting down or creating a decline in services for hundreds of nursing homes, community health centers, and hospitals throughout the country. But it gets even worse than that. Secretary Kennedy has just fired the head of the CDC, Dr. Susan Monterez, who has been on the job for just a few weeks. Her crime? Well, she refused to be a rubber stamp for Kennedy's anti-vaccine conspiracy theories.
We are in a government not just controlled by anti-vaxxers, because that's one thing. Like, the fact that elected officials are anti-vaxxers, that's a scary thing on its own, don't get me wrong. What's even scarier is when the bipartisan federal institutions whose entire job is to exist separate from party lines and entirely focused on doing their job in order to improve America's and Americans' health, when the elected officials fire the nonpartisan appointed officials and appoint partisan demagogues in their place who are willing to forego the task of the assignment given to them in their position to instead disseminate propaganda for the state, basically turning once valuable, in many cases life-saving federal institutions into propaganda machines that serve absolutely no beneficial purpose to Americans anymore. They only serve to benefit Trump. It's not that our government is run by anti-vaxxers now, it's that our federal institutions are run by anti-vaxxers now that truly scares me. It's the CDC and institutions like that. The scientists that we were once employing to research the cure for cancer, all that research out the window, all that funding now being spent on mass deportation and war and Israel. It is all out the window. All of the things our government was doing behind the scenes that the president didn't even focus on before, that were just making America's lives better, they've all been ground to a halt and set aflame. Trump and RFK, as a point of political warfare, have declared war on public health and medicine. In fact, if you're enjoying this video so far and you want to help to boost it in the algorithm so it reaches more people and doesn't get suppressed by YouTube for being progressive content, and yes, YouTube does do that, then consider dropping a like and a comment on this video if you have enjoyed it. Every thumbs up and comment helps to boost it in the algorithm, and if we can hit 1,000 likes in this video within 24 hours, YouTube's going to send this video to the moon, so I really appreciate it. And of course, I want to see if we can hit 500 comments in that time as well. Curious to see if you're up to the challenge. Thank you for your support, and let's get back to it.
That is her crime. That's why she was fired. In other words, she believes what virtually the entire medical and scientific community believe, and that is that vaccines are an enormously important public health tool which protect the health and welfare of our children and all Americans. It is a bit absurd to have to say this in the year 2025. But let me say it. Vaccines are safe and effective. Let me say
what are you, some kind of paid pro-pharma shill? No one would say that unless they were getting paid to.
It again. Vaccines are safe and effective. That, of course, is not just my view. Far more importantly, it is the overwhelming consensus of the medical and scientific communities.
Yeah, like even calling it the overwhelming consensus is underselling how much of a consensus it is. It's like scientists will never outright say something is a fact, an irrefutable, undeniable fact that could never be disproven by any potential future evidence. But if they could say that and be confident in it, like as professionals, they would on this topic. Vaccines have been as proven to be safe and effective as anything could be proven to be safe and effective. Like it's life saving. People die without them. They're better existing and being widespread and widely used than banned. That's just the fact of it. There is no debate.
The American Academy of Pediatrics, the largest professional association of pediatricians in our country, representing over 67,000 doctors who treat our kids every day. They called immunizations, quote, one of the greatest public health achievements, preventing tens of thousands of deaths and millions of cases of disease, end quote. That's the pediatricians. The American Medical Association, the largest professional association of physicians and medical students in our country, representing over 270,000 doctors, along with 79 leading medical societies, recently said that vaccines for flu, RSV, and COVID-19 are, quote, the best tools to protect the public against these illnesses and their potentially serious complications. And
the people you got to be really scared for here, and everyone I think knows someone who falls into this category because they're so common, are people with autoimmune disorders. Things like lupus. House fans in the chats, please stand up. Autoimmune disorders are like unbelievably common. I think it's something like 1 in 5 people has one. This basically means that your immune system is trying to kill you. Like, you will just be chilling out, vibing in bed, watching a movie, and all of a sudden, you have a fever. For no reason. And now you're vomiting. And you're also, you got a splitting migraine. You're basically like going through the symptoms of a severe sickness because your immune system is like going haywire for no reason at all. You're not sick. You haven't been infected with anything. Your immune system is just not working right. It's been false positive and it's killing you. Some autoimmune disorders do the opposite, where your immune system is extremely suppressed by default and you don't have an immune system, more or less. But more commonly, it's an overactive immune system that's killing you. And people have to take immunosuppressant medication in order to essentially dull their immune system to non-existence. And the downside of this is, well, the upside is, I should say, that their immune system is not actively killing them anymore with no reason severe symptoms and fever that could, put them in the hospital or cook their brain and kill their organs. That's the upside, but the downside is you now don't really have a functioning immune system because you're taking medication that makes it not really work anymore. And so you rely very heavily on the fact that if you get a vaccine as someone with an immune disorder, you're not likely to survive it. Like, you could die taking the vaccine as someone with immunocompromised issues, which is why everybody who can take the vaccines should get them, needs to get them. It's called herd immunity. I'm sure everyone who is very tapped into COVID knows all this already, but not everyone knows these things. Any amount of reducing the availability of a vaccine puts exponentially more people in danger because you need as widespread of a vaccination record as possible to reduce the percentage of immunocompromised people that will eventually, inevitably, one day get sick. And if they do get sick, as far as I know, it's like a scary high, death rate for immunocompromised people who get sick with, COVID or any kind of serious disease. Like for COVID, I thought it was like in the double digits range of like death rate for people with like lupus and other immunocompromised stuff. And even just people with immunodeficiency, where like their immune system just doesn't work already. They're not taking suppressants. They just don't have a working immune system. We gotta all get vaccinated to help those people.
Quote. The World Health Organization, an agency comprised of some of the most prominent medical experts around the globe, representing 194 countries, found that over the past 50 years, vaccines have saved 154 million lives and reduced the infant mortality rate by 40%.
I believe it.
Unfortunately, Mr. Kennedy, the head of U.S. government public health agencies, doesn't agree with the leading doctors and scientists in our country and around the world.
Something I want you guys to never forget, mark my words, the Kennedy family has like something going on. I don't believe it's a social thing in their family. I'm pretty confident there is some kind of like genetic factor in their family history that leads to like late life onset of severe psychosis. If you look at like the family history of the Kennedy family, it is kind of wild how many of them are either currently openly psychotic public figures, constantly being openly psychotic, or died doing something psychotic. One of the Kennedys not too long ago died in a shootout with police, if I'm not mistaken. Like he'd gotten like this house on like a big tract of land, set up like a shitload of guns in every window, and like when the cops came to check on him, he opened fire, and they eventually came with SWAT teams, like a whole army of cops, and he just like pulled an Alamo there in that house and died in the shootout with the cops, if I remember right. There was one member of the Kennedy family who was, frankly, I would say the most normal member of the Kennedy family, though she was dealing with, I guess, pretty severe disability. So the Kennedy's family response was to take a stainless steel rod and a hammer and jab it into her brain through her eyeball socket. AKA, they got her lobotomized. Yeah. It's a really, really weird family. And people aren't talking about that enough.
He believes that, quote,
wait, she literally just had depression? Wait, she wasn't even disabled? She just had depression? From what I'd heard, to be fair, not the most reliable source that I heard this from, to be fair, but I did double check some of the main details, fact checked it. What I heard was that she was dealing with like significant disability, but the Kennedy family didn't provide support for her. They tried to like turn her into a robot, or I guess. Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys.
Autism does come from vaccines, end quote. Despite more than a dozen...
Zan, have you ever watched the movie JFK? No. I've never... The only piece of media I've consumed that really, like, centralizes in any way around the, like, Kennedy family is, what is... I can't remember the name of the book. It's the year that Kennedy was assassinated. I think it's, like, 1963? 1960... Something like that. It was, it's a Stephen King book about a guy who has access to a portal. There's a lot of these in Stephen King's stories. There's one in The Dark Tower too, where like dudes just in New York City or in Maine usually have like a house somewhere or a building or like a back room in their restaurant where you open up a door, it's a dimensional gateway. It sends you straight to another world. There's a multiverse, and there are just doors to other universes, and you can go through them, and some of those doors lead to the universes of completely separate Stephen King stories. Because they're in a connected multiverse, if not the same universe, when Stephen King writes stuff. The Dark Tower is like the piece of media that brings all his stuff together in that way. And so, it was, 2263, I believe is what it's called. Because November 22nd, or no, it's called... Oh, I think it's called 9/22/63 because November. Yeah, no, it'd be 11. Yeah, it was 11/22/63. Yes, because it was November 22nd, 1963. That's the name of the book. Really good. I think they might be making or already made an adaptation of it. Um, so I'm curious to look into that. I think it's already out. I think it's like I forget who they've got playing the main character. It's a neat book, though. He basically goes back in time and tries to stop the Kennedy assassination, but you don't really learn all that much about the Kennedy family in that book. Besides that, most of what I know is just from, just reading about it.
Dozen rigorous scientific studies involving hundreds of thousands of children that have found no, quote, no causal association, end quote, to link vaccines to autism. He has called the COVID-19 vaccine, quote, the deadliest vaccines ever made, end quote, despite
God help us.
findings from the WHO that these vaccines saved 20 million lives throughout the world during the pandemic. He has claimed that the polio vaccines killed more people than polio ever did, despite the fact that the scientific community has found that the polio vaccine have saved 1.5 million lives and prevented over 20 million people from becoming paralyzed since 1988.
Listen, I just hope the massive plague coming makes its rounds through the Trump voting community, They're the ones who aren't getting vaccinated. So let's hope they stick to their guns on that not getting vaccinated thing as like the Black Death makes its rounds through America. We'll happily be vaccinated and social distancing and doing our lockdowns. All the Trump supporters can go out and live their lives and make each other sick. That's what I hope we can all do.
He has absurdly claimed that, quote, there is no vaccine that is safe and effective, end quote. That is the head of the Health and Human Services Agency. So, what does this mean for the health of the American people? Short term, it will mean, unless we change this situation, that for millions of Americans, it will be harder to get life-saving vaccines. Already, the Trump administration has effectively taken away COVID vaccines from healthy adults and kids unless they fight their way through our broken healthcare system. It will also mean
they basically restricted any access to the COVID vaccine. In the coming weeks, COVID vaccine access is basically going to be non-existent. The next big waves of COVID are coming, but that's the least of our worries. We have officially lost the war against COVID 100%. There was some level of like a stalemate for a little while, because we had reduced the amount of cases for a while, but yeah, it's gonna get bad again, guys. It's gonna get real fucking bad again.
Higher out-of-pocket costs if people are able to get the vaccine at all. And the long-term implications are even more dangerous. As the former chairman of the Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee.
Remember, guys, you get COVID once, you get COVID twice even, that shit sticks with you forever. Even if you don't get long COVID symptoms, the damage, this has been long since proven and continues to be proven in research that they've continued to do. The damage it does to your pulmonary system is insane. Your heart, and like your entire, like, the pump system for sending blood through your body literally gets damaged physically, like noticeable. Like they could send a camera through like your arteries and your leg up into your heart and see the physical damage to your arterial walls done by you having had COVID. Like your heart, like I got COVID twice. My heart looks different now, probably, if you put a camera in there compared to before I got it, because it has taken physical damage from having COVID. My lungs, no doubt, took a good beating from COVID. I got it twice, and man, I don't feel like they're as good as they used to be. I don't think I could hold my breath as long, no matter how much training I did. I don't think I can run for as long as I could. I think I've genuinely, like, had my max stamina on, like, my NPC, like, my RPG character. Like, my stamina cap went from, like, 100% down to like 85%, it feels like. Maybe even like 80%. It like if you get COVID once, the chances are you've got some real permanent damage done to your body. And even now, maybe you can't tell. Maybe now it's not a big deal, or like you don't feel any different. But when you get older, that's when scientists and doctors are saying that long COVID, or having received damage to your body from having COVID, is going to start causing problems. Like there are some scientists that expect that like the human life expectancy in the next couple generations is going to drop down for the first time in a while due to the life limiting factors caused by getting COVID. Like getting COVID, most people who get COVID have had their life almost certainly reduced. Their original lifespan has been reduced by getting COVID. It is that bad. It does, like, even if it doesn't fuck you up that bad when you get sick, the damage it does for having ever gotten it is permanent and severe in the long term. These are scary times, folks. These are real scary times. Keep yourselves safe out there. And remember, as these diseases spread across the world, particularly across America, I guess, remember that as long as you keep yourself safe and you keep your fellow progressive people safe and you follow the protocols to keep yourselves from getting sick, then it's going to be the chuds who end up getting the plague. So sit back and point and laugh at them as they end up getting sick, because they're the ones who are going to do everything in their power to avoid the vaccines, as they have been. And now that the law allows them to do it, they're not going to get their kids vaccinated in order to go to school. Get your kids homeschooled. If you are scared that your kids are going to be surrounded by a bunch of disease vectors, homeschool your kid. Get them vaccinated and homeschool them anyway. Trust me, this conservative administration is very pro-homeschool. You'll benefit from it. Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this segment, despite the downtrodden subject matter, and found it entertaining, enjoyable, or educational in any way whatsoever, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, leaving a like and comment down below to boost the channel and the algorithm, subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications if you want to get notified when I go live or upload in the future, and follow my social medias, linked down below in the description if you want to see more from me in the future. Particularly join my fan Discord, as that is the main hub of my community and fan base, and I host weekly gaming events, call-in streams, watch parties, and movie nights there every single week. So hopefully I'll see you there. You certainly won't regret it if you join. Regardless, though, I hope you have a good one.